we all learned, we all grew up, you know. We grew up streetwise.
Those were the best, you know, today, you know, punk rock and all that, you know, we were talking about, you know, you can buy punk rock, you can buy the clothes and buy the haircut, but you can't go back, you know, and have that lifestyle anymore. That's gone forever. It'll never be the same anymore. I mean, you know, New York City now, you know, it's basically for the rich and the extremely poor people, you know, there's no middle class back, you know, late 70s, early 80s, everybody lived in the city. Now they don't have to live in the suburbs now because it's too expensive.
I know. I was just back there, and food's off the chart cost-wise, everything.
All the new buildings in the Bowery and all these $1 million apartments, it's just, you know, it was great to be there at that time, you know, because it just won't come back.
You guys created history that can never, ever be repeated. You know that?
Right.
And there's so many things that you can't say that about, because history has a tendency to repeat itself in almost everything, except you guys created a lifestyle. I don't see anybody ever repeating that again.
And the music's kind of timeless too. You could still listen to this day.
I do.
Some of the stuff from back then seems, you know, a little dated when you listen to it now, but the Ramones are never dated. You can just listen to that forever. Yeah. And now they're going on to the third, maybe fourth generation of fans, you know, little kids wearing Ramones shirts.
Exactly.
So it was really special and fortunate to be a part of that band.
I saw a little girl wear it with a Ramones purse. Yeah. At the grocery store with her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the effect that you guys had was amazing. And we also, you know, we're just so happy that you've been part of this project, decided to come on, be part of the project, and lead the soundtrack. You know, you're going to be the feature single on the soundtrack, and you're writing some new music.
Right.
And it's not the same old music that everybody, you know, would think. You know,
right.
You're kind of taking it in a little bit of a new direction.
Yeah, well, trying to, you know, think out the box, you know, it's a different time for me, and when you write music, you know, I'm not the type who writes music and says, okay, well, now I want to write a hit, or I want to write a song like that. It just comes emotionally from within, and some are good, some are bad, but you just have to get it out of your system.
Oh, exactly.
You know, because music, you know, the pop stuff and all that today is so formulated. You know, it all sounds the same, you know, and all the auto-tune and all this stuff. It's just so perfect sounding that, you know, sometimes it, you know, gets a little annoying to me, you know, when you can predict a song exactly where it's going to go. So I just try to write from within and let it come out, and then say, wow, that's good, let's use this piece and put it here and do that. That's how I said, you know, I kind of said that before, you know, with Jim, he never gave up. A lot of people do give up, you know, and another thing that I said, you know, if you're a new artist, it has to come from within. People sit down and they go, oh, I'm going to write a hit song. They listen to the radio and, you know, try to emulate that stuff. Then you end up just sounding like one of them. Maybe you'll have a hit, but who cares? Really, who cares? The one-hit wonder thing, it doesn't matter, so you make some money. You know, it just has to come from within. When I was a kid, I don't really have, you know, like, idols and things like that. I listen to everything. Now to this day, yeah, you know, on the jazz side, Buddy Rich is my idol, and John Bonham is my rock drummer idol. And that's basically it, you know. It's, I never really copied or listened to anything. I listened to all kinds of music, from classical to country to jazz to rock to metal. You know, too many kids today, they listen to metal, and that's all they're going to do is learn metal, or they're only going to learn rock, or they're only going to learn country. And, you know, you just can't do that. You have to listen to everything and interpret it your own way. You know, you can't just, because you're just going to play those same riffs and that same beat. But what if you heard a jazz beat and you can put it in your new metal or rock song? How cool would that be, you know? So I think to be a diverse musician, you need to listen to everything. I don't say you got to like everything, but just listen to it once in a while instead of just being so focused on one type of music, and you know, and then you must read music. Don't forget, learn your theory.
That's exactly. Music theory is so important. You know, being able to read that sheet.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't bother with that anymore. But you know, there's millions and millions of people who are talented who never did anything. You know, and it's a shame. But you know, besides doing all those things, you just got to be in the right place at the right time to really make it happen. You know, so and it could take a long while because it seems like today there's so many bands than there were in the 70s.
It's overkill.
There's just too many. With all the TV, everybody wants to be a star now.
With the internet, I mean, there's like
Yeah.
5 million bands.
Yeah, it's like, how do you break through all that? Well, you better have something new and original.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
You better be able to do something different, you know, make yourself a name. You know, and it's not so much about attaining success, because anybody can be a one-hit wonder.
Mhm.
It's maintaining success,
Mhm.
like the Ramones did, like you have.
Right.
Even though you took your break,
Mhm.
people never forgot about you. People never stopped loving you. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
You know,
Yeah.
I remembered you,
Right.
and you know, I get through my surgeries and I'm going, I gotta get a hold of Richie. Remember? I gotta get a hold of Richie. Richie's gotta lead this soundtrack. And so then, boom, I shot the email off and he
Right.
said yes, and
Right.
that's good vibes, you
Yeah.
know, good times.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, but you guys didn't really self-mythologize. You didn't need to. You guys kind of like blew up, you know,
Mhm.
sky high on your own. Just the whole idea, the whole theory behind the Ramones.
Right. And it was, the big part of the Ramones was the fans, being loyal to the fans, big part, like a cult following. The fans were never sell millions of records, but to assure millions of fans. You know what I'm saying?
Worldwide.
Right.
That's for sure.
Hardcore, know everything. They know what you eat for breakfast. They know,
How many bands got to walk on the Berlin Wall,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I remember standing next to that thing.
I know, I saw
We did
it.
a show right next to it.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It got, it was sold out, and there was like
Incredible.
a lot of crazy stuff going on. It's kind of scary, but,
Not if you're around security, it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great. I mean, all the different the world tours that you did, just amazing, Richie. And I'm so glad you're back, ready to just let it pour out and give it your all.
Right.
Because it's not so much, like I said, it's not attaining, it's maintaining. And
Right.
you've done that, even though you took your break. We all have that. We've
Right.
all had to take our breaks,
Right.
and find something that our muse, so to speak.
Mhm.
Whether it's a thing, an item, or an idea,
Right.
or a person,
Right.
to help that influence that creativity. And I need that stimulation. I mean, we all do after 40 years,
Yeah, sometimes when you stop for a while, I stopped for years, then there was something inside me and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it was like I had to come back because stuff had to come out of me.
Exactly,
No.
exactly.
No.
I started almost like taking it out in relationships,
Right.
and I didn't know why I was like that.
Mhm.
And then I got back into the business again, working
Right.
with Teenage Head and those guys
Mhm.
up north, and it was just, my life was complete then, it was
Right.
like that's what I was meant to do. I was meant to promote, I was meant to road tour manage,
Right.
I was meant to work in the studio.
Right.
So many different aspects of the music business I've worked in, that's what I was meant to do. I mean, I can't be a car salesman, you know what I'm saying? Well, I probably could if I had to, but
Yeah.
it's not where my heart is.
Forget those guys. You gotta go to school to be one of them. They're all the same. I don't know. There must be car salesman school, where you gotta you argue and then you leave, then they call you back, then you leave again, they're all the same. I've never met just a regular person doing that,
No,
It's
they're
really, it must be
exceptional.
like a training.
Yeah.
class for that. I don't know.
They do. They actually train you the first time the person says no. They train you for a rebuttal on first, second, and third notes.
Okay.
That's how they do it. So they're prepared. They got their comebacks. So recently you were in Dublin and you
Right.
did some recording. Want to mention the project?
Yeah, the first, you know, they're called the Gobshites. They're out of Boston, bunch of Irish guys, and in fact, Pete, the singer, you know, he was in a band called Meet the Press back in the day. They were a punk band.
Mhm.
And then they broke off into this, which is very popular, this Irish punk stuff going on. And I've never played that kind of music, and I remember years ago they did a cover of Somebody Put Something in My Drink, one of the songs I wrote, and it was so amazing. And then who would know, like a few years later he contacts me and we go over there, we cut 18 tracks in Dublin in 3 days.
Sweet.
And it sounds really good. We actually did Drink Again, and I do a duet with him singing, and looking forward to that record sometime next year too.
Perfect.
Very interesting. The Irish drumming is a little different, a lot of toms, and but it really came out sounding good. And that, you know, Dublin's just a party town, you know, I mean, the Guinness was so delicious there. I mean, kids, you know, yelling in the streets at 3, 4 in the morning. You can't get away with that now, but the pub's packed, and, you know, we're at this place called Temple Bar. That was the area of town. It was really, really amazing. Had a wonderful time there. So I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
Well, it's so good to see you again, Richie.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think your work is really important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what you're doing, getting it out there. You know, so many people love you and loved your work, you know, and are waiting to hear something new.
Right.
Well, we're waiting for the Richie Ramone invasion. 2012, Richie Ramone.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you all for watching. And Richie, do you want to say anything to the fans before we leave?
The fans are great. We're going to have a good time. 2012, big year.
2012, the year of Richie Ramone and Jim Rose.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.